Welcome to English Language Academy. The Lion and the Mouse, a Timeless English Tale. Chapter 1. The Mighty Lion. Deep in the heart of the jungle, there lived a mighty lion. He was the king of all the animals. His golden mane shone brightly under the sun, and his roar could be heard from miles away. All the animals feared him, for he was strong, powerful, and brave. But the lion, though fierce, was fair and kind. He ruled the jungle wisely, and the animals respected him. Every morning, the lion walked through the jungle, inspecting his kingdom. He watched the birds sing, the monkeys play, and the deer graze. The jungle was his home, and he loved it deeply. Chapter 2. The Tiny Mouse. Not far from the lion's den lived a tiny mouse. She was small and gray with bright, curious eyes. The mouse was very clever but often nervous because she was so little. She spent her days looking for crumbs of food and hiding from larger animals. One day, the mouse ventured close to the lion's den. She was searching for food and didn't realize how close she had come. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath her tiny feet. A loud roar made her freeze in fear. The lion had returned to his den and found the mouse there. "Who dares enter my home?" the lion roared, glaring at the trembling mouse. The mouse squeaked. "Oh, mighty king, please forgive me. I didn't mean to disturb you. I was only looking for food." Chapter 3. A Kind Gesture. The lion leaned closer, his sharp teeth gleaming. The mouse shut her eyes, expecting the worst. But instead of attacking her, the lion laughed. "You are so small. How could you possibly be a threat to me?" he said. "Run along now, little one, but be careful where you wander." The mouse opened her eyes, surprised and grateful. "Thank you, kind lion. I will never forget your mercy. Perhaps one day I can help you in return." The lion chuckled. "You help me? How amusing. But go on, little one. Be safe." The mouse scurried away, her heart full of gratitude. Chapter 4. Trouble for the King. A few days later, the lion was walking through the jungle when he was caught in a hunter's trap. A thick net fell over him, and no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free. His roars echoed through the jungle, but the hunters were far away and would return soon to claim their prize. The animals of the jungle heard the lion's cries but were too afraid to approach. All except one, the tiny mouse. When the mouse saw the lion trapped, she remembered his kindness. "Don't worry, mighty lion. I will help you," she called out. The lion looked at her in surprise. "How can you, a tiny mouse, possibly free me from this strong net?" The mouse didn't answer. She hurried to the net and began to gnaw at the ropes with her sharp teeth. Bit by bit, the ropes began to break. Chapter 5. Freedom. The mouse worked tirelessly, and soon the net was weak enough for the lion to break free. With a mighty roar, he tore the last of the ropes and stood tall once again. "You saved me," the lion said, bowing his head in gratitude. "I never thought someone so small could help someone so mighty. You have proven that kindness and courage are stronger than size or strength." The mouse smiled. "You were kind to me when you could have hurt me. Today, I returned your kindness. We are all important, no matter how big or small." From that day on, the lion and the mouse became the best of friends. The lion protected the mouse from danger, and the mouse taught the lion that even the smallest creature can make a big difference. Chapter 6. A Lesson for All. The jungle was never the same after that day. The lion and the mouse's friendship inspired all the animals. They learned that kindness and bravery could unite even the most unlikely friends. And so, the tale of the lion and the mouse was told for generations, reminding everyone that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. The End. The Honest Woodcutter, a story of integrity. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by a thick forest, there lived a woodcutter named Ramu. He was a simple man, known for his honesty and hard work. Every morning Ramu would go to the forest, cut wood, and sell it in the village market. This was how he earned his living. One bright morning, Ramu carried his axe to the forest. He looked for the best trees to cut. As he walked along a small river, he saw a tall, strong tree. "This tree will provide good wood," he said to himself. Ramu started chopping the tree. Suddenly his axe slipped from his hand and fell into the river. The water was deep, and Ramu couldn't see his axe. He sat by the riverbank, feeling sad. "How will I work now?" he thought. As Ramu sat there, a divine figure appeared before him. It was a beautiful angel with shimmering wings. She smiled and asked, "Why are you so sad, Ramu?" Ramu bowed respectfully and said, "Oh, kind angel, my axe fell into the river. It is my only tool to earn a living." The angel nodded and said, "Don't worry, I will help you." She dived into the river and came up holding a shiny golden axe. "Is this your axe?" she asked. Ramu looked at the golden axe and shook his head. "No, this is not my axe," he said honestly. "My axe was simple, made of iron." The angel smiled and dived back into the river. This time she brought up a silver axe. "Is this your axe?" she asked. Again Ramu shook his head. "No, this is not my axe either," he said. "My axe was not silver. It was an old iron axe." The angel was pleased with Ramu's honesty. She went into the river one last time and brought up the iron axe. "Is this your axe?" she asked. Ramu's face lit up with joy. "Yes, this is my axe. Thank you so much," he said. The angel was so impressed with Ramu's integrity that she decided to reward him. "Because you are honest, I will give you all 3 axes, the golden, the silver, and your iron axe," she said. Ramu couldn't believe his luck. He thanked the angel again and again. He carried the axes back to his village and told everyone about his experience. The villagers were amazed by his honesty and the angel's generosity. From that day on, Ramu's life changed. He became respected in the village, not just for his hard work, but also for his truthfulness. He always remembered the lesson that honesty is rewarded in ways one cannot imagine. And so, Ramu lived a happy and content life, inspiring others to be honest and truthful. The story of the honest woodcutter became famous, teaching people the value of integrity for generations to come. Moral of the story: honesty is always the best policy. It may not bring immediate rewards, but it will bring lasting happiness and respect. The Little Dog Who Found His Best Friend, Chapter 1. A Small Dog in a Big World. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there was a small dog named Max. Max had soft, brown fur, big floppy ears, and a wagging tail that never seemed to stop. But Max was lonely. Every day he watched the other dogs in the village play together. Max longed for a best friend of his own. Max lived with an old man named Mr. Taylor, who was kind but very busy. Mr. Taylor worked in his garden and often read big, heavy books. Though he loved Max, he didn't have much time to play. "One day you'll find someone special," Mr. Taylor said as he patted Max's head. Max would nod, but deep down, he wondered if that day would ever come. Chapter 2. The Forest Adventure. One sunny morning, Max decided to explore beyond the village. He walked through the tall grass and sniffed the flowers along the way. Soon he reached the edge of a big forest. The trees looked tall and mysterious, but Max's curiosity pushed him forward. Inside the forest, Max met a squirrel named Benny. Benny had bright, bushy fur and loved to chatter. "Hello there. Are you lost?" Benny asked, tilting his head. "Not lost," Max replied. "Just looking for a friend." Benny smiled. "Well, you're in the right place. The forest is full of creatures. Follow me." Max followed Benny deeper into the woods. They met a wise owl, a playful rabbit, and even a shy deer. Though they were kind, none of them felt like the best friend Max was searching for. Chapter 3. A Stormy Night. As evening fell, dark clouds gathered in the sky. Max decided it was time to head home, but before he could leave the forest, rain began to pour. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Max found shelter under a big tree. He curled up, trying to stay warm. Suddenly, he heard a soft whimper nearby. Max followed the sound and found a tiny puppy, shivering and alone. "Are you okay?" Max asked gently. The puppy's eyes widened. "I got lost. My name is Daisy," Max smiled. "Don't worry, Daisy. We'll stay together until the storm passes." Max lay next to Daisy, keeping her warm. Though the storm was scary, Max felt brave. He wasn't alone anymore. Chapter 4: A New Day. When the sun rose, the forest glistened with raindrops. Max and Daisy made their way back to the village together. As they walked, they shared stories and laughed. When they arrived, Mr. Taylor welcomed them both. "Who's this?" he asked with a smile. "This is Daisy," Max said proudly. "She's my new friend." Mr. Taylor patted them both. "Well, it looks like you found your best friend after all." From that day on, Max and Daisy were inseparable. They played in the garden, explored the village, and even napped together by the fire. Max's heart was full, and he knew he had finally found his best friend. Epilogue: years passed, and Max and Daisy grew older, but their bond never faded. They taught each other the true meaning of friendship: kindness, loyalty, and love. In the quiet village, Max was no longer a small, lonely dog. He was the happiest dog, all because he had found his best friend. And so their story reminds us all. Sometimes the best things in life come when we least expect them. The end. The Talking Parrot, a funny English story. Chapter 1: The New Pet. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet town, there lived a man named Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown loved animals. He had a dog named Max, a cat named Lucy, and now he wanted a parrot. One sunny morning, he went to the pet shop. The pet shop was full of colorful birds, but one bird caught Mr. Brown's eye. It was a green parrot with shiny feathers. The parrot tilted its head and looked at him. To Mr. Brown's surprise, the parrot said, "Hello, Mr. Brown." Mr. Brown laughed. "I'll take this one," he said to the shopkeeper. "Good choice," said the shopkeeper. "This is a special parrot. It can talk." Mr. Brown brought the parrot home and named it Charlie. Max and Lucy looked curious. They sniffed at Charlie's cage, but Charlie didn't mind. "Hello, Max." "Hello, Lucy," Charlie said. The dog and cat jumped back in surprise. Mr. Brown laughed so hard his belly shook. Chapter 2: Charlie Learns More Words. Charlie was a clever parrot. Every day Mr. Brown taught him new words. Soon Charlie could say things like, "Good morning, how are you?" and "What's for dinner?" But Charlie also had a naughty side. He loved to tease Max and Lucy. "Max is a silly dog," Charlie would say. Max would bark, and Charlie would laugh. Then Charlie would tease Lucy. "Lazy Lucy, sleepy cat." Lucy would meow and swish her tail. Charlie found it all very funny. One day, Mr. Brown invited his neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Green, for tea. Charlie was excited to meet them. When they arrived, Charlie shouted, "Welcome, green beans." Mr. and Mrs. Green laughed, but Mr. Brown turned red. "Charlie, behave yourself," he said. Chapter 3: The Parrot's Secret. One evening, Mr. Brown came home late. He was very tired and forgot to lock Charlie's cage. In the middle of the night, Charlie flew out of the cage and into the kitchen. There he found a jar of cookies. The next morning, Mr. Brown saw crumbs everywhere. "Who ate the cookies?" he asked. Max and Lucy looked innocent, but Charlie shouted, "It was me! It was me!" Mr. Brown couldn't believe his ears. "You naughty bird," he said, but he couldn't stay mad at Charlie for long. Chapter 4: Charlie Saves the Day. One day, while Mr. Brown was at work, a stranger came to the house. The stranger tried to open the window. Charlie saw this and started shouting, "Help! Help! Go away!" The stranger was startled. "Who's there?" he asked. "Police! Police!" Charlie shouted. The stranger panicked and ran away. When Mr. Brown came home, the neighbors told him what happened. "Your parrot is a hero," they said. Mr. Brown gave Charlie a big hug. "You're the best parrot in the world," he said. Chapter 5, Charlie's Birthday. The year passed, and it was time to celebrate Charlie's birthday. Mr. Brown threw a big party. Max and Lucy were there, and so were the neighbors. Mr. Brown made a special cake with seeds and nuts for Charlie. "Happy birthday, Charlie," everyone said. Charlie flapped his wings and shouted, "Thank you, everyone. Let's party." The party was full of laughter and fun. Charlie told jokes, sang songs, and even danced. Everyone agreed it was the best party they had ever been to. Chapter 6, The Talking Parrot Show. After the birthday party, Mr. Brown had an idea. "Charlie, you're so funny. Let's start a show," he said. Charlie loved the idea. Mr. Brown built a small stage in the garden. Every weekend, people came to watch the Talking Parrot Show. Charlie told funny stories, sang songs, and made everyone laugh. The show became famous, and Charlie was the star. People from other towns came to see him. Charlie loved the attention and always gave his best performance. Chapter 7, A Lesson in Kindness. One day, a little boy named Tim came to see the show. Tim was shy and didn't talk much. After the show, he stayed behind to meet Charlie. "Hello, Tim," Charlie said. Tim's eyes lit up. "Hello, Charlie," he whispered. Charlie started telling Tim jokes and funny stories. Tim laughed and started talking more. Mr. Brown noticed this and said, "Charlie, you have a special gift. You make people happy." From that day on, Charlie spent time with Tim whenever he visited. Tim became more confident, and his parents were very grateful. Chapter 8, The Big Adventure. One summer, Mr. Brown decided to take Charlie, Max, and Lucy on a trip to the countryside. They stayed in a small cottage near a lake. Charlie loved the fresh air and the sound of the birds. One morning, Charlie saw a squirrel stealing nuts from the picnic basket. "Hey, thief!" Charlie shouted. The squirrel froze, dropped the nuts, and ran away. Max barked, and Lucy chased the squirrel up a tree. Mr. Brown laughed and said, "Charlie, you're the best guard parrot." Chapter 9, The farewell years passed, and Charlie grew older. He still loved to talk and make people laugh, but he also enjoyed quiet times with Mr. Brown. One day, Charlie said, "Thank you, Mr. Brown, for a wonderful life." Mr. Brown smiled and said, "Thank you, Charlie, for being my friend." Charlie's story became a legend in the town. People remembered him as the parrot who could talk, laugh, and make everyone happy. Even after Charlie was gone, his stories and laughter lived on in everyone's hearts. The end. A Day Without Technology. A Fun Listening Tale. Chapter 1, The Challenge. It was a sunny morning in Greenfield Town. The birds chirped outside, and children laughed as they played in the park. But inside the Johnson house, 12-year-old Mia and her 10-year-old brother, Liam, were glued to their devices. "Mia, breakfast is ready," called Mom. "Just a second," Mia shouted, not looking up from her phone. Dad sighed. "Kids, come to the table now. We need to talk." Reluctantly, Mia and Liam dragged themselves to the table. Mom set down a plate of pancakes. "We have a family challenge," she said with a smile. "A challenge?" Liam's eyes lit up. "Like a game?" "Sort of," Dad said. "It's called A Day Without Technology." Mia groaned. "No phones? No TV? What are we supposed to do all day?" "You'll see," Mom said. "We think it'll be fun." "And whoever lasts the longest gets a special prize," added Dad. "What prize?" asked Liam. Dad smiled mysteriously. "You'll have to wait and find out." Chapter 2, Morning Adventures. After breakfast, the family put all their devices in a box. "Goodbye, phone," Mia said dramatically as she placed it inside. The first hour was tough. "I'm so bored," Liam whined. "Why don't you play outside?" suggested Mom. Mia and Liam went into the backyard. At first they kicked a soccer ball half-heartedly, but soon they started a game of tag. The sound of their laughter filled the air. "I forgot how much fun this is," Mia said, out of breath. "Yeah," Liam agreed. "And we didn't even need a video game." Chapter 3, Creative Discoveries. By lunchtime, the kids were hungry. After eating sandwiches, Mom brought out craft supplies. "What are we supposed to do with this?" asked Liam, holding up a glue stick. "Anything you want," said Mom. "Be creative." Mia started painting a picture of the backyard, while Liam decided to build a robot out of cardboard boxes and toilet paper rolls. "Look at my masterpiece," Mia said proudly, holding up her colorful painting. "And meet Robo Liam," Liam announced, making his robot walk across the table. Mom and Dad clapped. "You two are so talented," Dad said. Chapter 4, The Great Bake-Off. In the afternoon, Mom suggested baking cookies. "Can we make chocolate chip?" Liam asked eagerly. "Of course," said Mom. Mia measured the flour while Liam cracked the eggs. Soon, the kitchen was filled with the sweet smell of cookies baking. "These are the best cookies ever," Mia said, taking a bite. "Because we made them ourselves," Liam added with a grin. Chapter 5, Evening Stories. As the sun set, the family gathered in the living room. "Let's tell stories," suggested Dad. "Can I go first?" asked Mia. She made up a story about a magical forest. Liam followed with a tale about a superhero who could turn invisible. "Those were great," Mom said. "Now let's read a book together." They chose an old adventure book and took turns reading aloud. By the time they finished a few chapters, everyone was smiling. Chapter 6, The Winner. At bedtime, Mom and Dad announced the winner of the challenge. "The prize goes to all of us," Dad said, "because we spent the whole day together, having fun." "Best prize ever," said Mia, hugging her brother. As they went to bed, Mia and Liam agreed that a day without technology wasn't so bad after all. They couldn't wait to try it again soon. The end. Thanks for watching English Language Academy. Subscribe now.